Every year, right around this time, I get rather excited for a new F1 game. The current F1 season is in full swing, the form table is usually decided, and I've just about explored every avenue in last year's release. Information usually trickles out, first with a logo, a few feature bullet points, followed by the pre-order bonuses. And suddenly, around a month ahead of release, that trickle turns into a flood, and I jump up and down in excitement more than a Max Verstappen fan at Spa. That moment is today. These are our very early first impressions of F1 2021. F1 2021 is important for many reasons. There's the return of a story in the form of Breaking Point, it'll release during an unpredictable real-life F1 season, this is the first Codemasters game releasing under EA's stewardship, and most importantly for me, it releases on PS5 and Xbox Series X. While the F1 games are undoubtedly popular on PC, there is a massive console audience, and the additional horsepower these new machines provide enables those with accessible devices to run at 4K and higher frame rates without so much as a glance at a config menu or monitor setup. Codemasters and EA have now confirmed that on the latest machinery, F1 2021 will not only benefit from smoother visuals, but rapid loading speeds thanks to solid-state drives, the ability to switch between performance and graphics options, 3D audio, and even ray tracing for realistic reflections. That last point does have one caveat, however. Ray tracing is used in replays, broadcast, and showrooms. Now utilizing a dramatic water feature backdrop, it's notably only absent during races. Still, considering this game is running on an updated existing game engine, it's no mean feat. PS5 owners will also receive support for activities and online accolades, plus these superb adaptive triggers. Again, while there are many people who play with the wheel, the F1 games are fastidious with their support of gamepads, and for racing games in particular, the triggers on the DualSense can add to that immersion. Inverted commas, last-gen players will still be catered for, with PS4 and Xbox One releases still on the cards for this year at least. On both platforms, there is an upgrade path to the next-gen versions if you do decide to go for new hardware, if you manage to get one. Much has been made of the returning storyline for F1 2021, this time entitled Breaking Point, and witnessing new fictional characters fight against returnee Devon Butler. Devon is everything you don't want an opponent to be. A 7 out of 10 behind the wheel, lacking the talent and determination of a Hamilton or a Senna, yet the full self-confidence of them. He's not afraid to tell you how amazing he thinks he is either. The story mode that first began in F1 2019 was over just as it gained momentum. And in F1 2021, whilst we still don't know the overall length, we do know that it spreads across 3 seasons, F2 2019, F1 2020, and F1 2021. That means that cars and drivers from F1 2019 and F1 2020 will be carried across. In reference to the multiple F1 seasons included, this is a first for the series since the ill-fated F1 2015. It will be more than just CGI cutscenes too, with story-specific press interactions, broadcast commentary that matches the events, and a driver room location that features social media, a newsfeed, phone calls, and emails. You'll be selecting from one of 5 teams for your journey through, either Racing Point Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Haas, or Williams, which rather conveniently leaves room for upper echelon teams in next year's game. It all sounds like a much more in-depth experience, akin to FIFA's The Journey and Madden's Long Shot, rather than the straight-to-DVD feeling of 2019's efforts. While the biggest new additions are arguably the refinements the new horsepower allows and breaking points, over the course of a year, the online multiplayer is one of the most used portions of Codemasters' single-seater epic, and will be used for the upcoming F1 Esports Pro Series. The series already has weekly events, online leaderboards with time trial and ranked racing, while 2020 added back-in offline split-screen racing, but for this year several further refinements have been added. Chief of which is the 2-player career. Previous titles such as F1 2018 offered online championships, which were substituted by leagues in 2019, but a cooperative career is a new dimension of immersion. Now you'll be able to duke it out in rival teams with a friend or work together for the same team aiming for a jointly achieved World Championship trophy. Contract negotiations, car development, and rivalries, it's all here, but this time as a shared experience. Before you ask if you happen to fall out, friend swaps are a feature. As for the bread and butter online racing, we'll have to test the post-release servers to really get under the skin of any improvements. But there will be a new beginner and experienced online race shortcuts from the menu, helping you quickly join a lobby matching your skill set, and the server browser has been revised with additional search filters. A unique networked feature is the much vaunted Real Season Start for use in the driver career. This means the real-life Drivers and Constructors Championships tables will be kept up to date, and you can start a season after the most recent event or from any weekend that's previously taken place. You will replace an official driver and inherit their points so far, with each team's R&D points simulated as the year progresses. Updates will take place after every race weekend, a far bigger undertaking than in previous iterations. The driver career and My Team modes return as per last year, and we've already seen the deluxe edition icons for the latter. After My Team breathed much needed life into the single player aspects of the game last year, expecting revolutions in this mode this time around is perhaps unrealistic. Things have been tweaked this year, including one of our most requested changes, revised practice and R&D points acquisition. There's now a focus on reducing the cost of research and development by completing secondary objectives, and the option of a quick practice that includes some form of time management minigame. The entire structure of the R&D practice tasks has been revised, but only 20 races deep into a season will we be able to see if these break up the monotony. Outside of the racetrack confines, team personnel can suffer from burnout, creating potential for missed deadlines, and there are more options when it comes to what type of simulator training your driver should undertake. R&D is still broken down into 4 main areas, but the development tree is no more, replaced by a new format that includes visual depictions of each new part. When you do make it through a full season, drivers on the market now have a new statistic that measures focus, representing readiness and motivation. Simply, if they're happy, there'll be a smiley face. If they're sad, the smiley will be upside down, presumably opening doors for transfers. Last season's game introduced the option of a custom shorter season, which remains, but now you can toggle press meetings on or off and tinker with the volume of mechanical failures or resource point gains for rival teams. All of this sounds great on paper, but what about on the track? Having not actually played the game yet, we'll pass judgment on to the all-important handling characteristics, damage modelling and track limits, but we're chomping at the bit to try it soon like an F2 driver awaiting an FP1 run. 3 things are immediately clear though looking at the gameplay footage. 1. The engine sounds are much more detailed. The Honda engine gurgling and popping on the overrun is enough to make a spectating starved F1 fan go weak at the knees. Glorious. Even the Mercedes AMG engine in the back of the Aston Martin sounds like the bowels of Hades on the downshifts. Second, your engineer Jeff, voiced by Adam Rees-D, has new lines. Over the years these have been added to, but many of the popular phrases have remained the same, which grates on those who play every new release. Fresh Jeff seems much more contemporary and natural in his responses. We can't guarantee he'll be any more accurate, however.
Understood, stopping the slab.
Lastly, the on-screen UI during races has a new look, with softer colours and a crisper design, more befitting of something created in 2021, as opposed to the decidedly noughties era visuals of yore. Think of all these details as an aperitif before the main Michelin-starred meal arrives. The next step is some hands-on time with one of our most anticipated games releasing this year, ahead of release on the 16th of July. Stay tuned for some more soon. Are you excited for F1 2021? Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to see more stuff like this, then please do subscribe to the Traxion channel, ring the bell to get notifications. Thank you all very much for watching. Keep it pinned. I'll see you next time.